What are your musical influences?
Mine personally?
Uh-huh.
People don't want to hear what mine are. They're pretty boring. I'll tell you, if I'm just being completely honest and whatever, I'm kind of a mess when it comes to influences. I'll tell you who got me into music. One of the live shows that I first saw, it was just on TV too, that made me think like I can do that and I want to do that. It's Garth Brooks. So I'm a massive Garth Brooks fan. I think it's some of the best songwriting of like the 80s and 90s. And I still know all the songs. I even soundcheck the songs. My band hates them, but I always soundcheck the Garth Brooks. But I grew up on everything from that to POD and Blindside and Soilwork and different metal bands and Metallica. You know, I mean, everybody listens to just kind of everything, especially back in the 90s. You know, there's a band, Tonic, that probably had some influence on me just because that's right when I started playing guitar. So started going that way. But it goes from everywhere from Garth Brooks to Soilwork to Celine Dion, and I'm being totally serious. It's a singer-songwriter thing and melody and all that that got me into music. Most guitar, and I played guitar for Story of the Year, so most people assume I'm like a guitar guy, but I'm not. Ryan is our guitar guy. He's the one that grew up on obsessively on guitar players, studying guitar players, Eddie Van Halen, people like that. I was getting the Van Halen records because of the melodies and because of the songwriting and the arrangements and things. So that's what makes us mesh really well. It's what makes us write songs really well. He's focused on a completely different aspect than I am, and we get to combine those aspects in both bands actually. And the cool thing about Story is nobody really listens to the same thing. Dan's a full-on like punk rock guy. Josh is obsessed with Deftones. Adam is Pantera, Metallica, and like I said, Ryan's Van Halen, and I'm Celine Dion and Garth Brooks. So it's a good nerdy combination, and that's what makes our music our music.
That's cool. So do you guys take yourself seriously outside of music, or?
No, actually, we don't take ourselves very seriously inside of music. You do to a certain extent. When you're doing art and you're really wanting to present your art, that's as serious as it gets, I guess, because that's the one time that you allow yourself to be vulnerable. And a lot of artists, a lot of musicians are extremely closed to people and not very well. They don't do very well socially or sharing feelings or in discussions about themselves, really. So music and art and lyrics and things are usually like a therapeutic sort of couch or place to express yourself. So that is a very serious thing, and I don't want to take anything away from that with my music or anybody else's music. But we are goofy ass dudes, and you really can't take yourself too seriously for too long, even in regards to your art, because it's just that, it's art, it's painting, and you move on.
Right.
And it's on to the next. This too shall pass, and the world keeps spinning, So you gotta enjoy life and just know when to joke, know when to laugh, especially at yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the most spontaneous thing you've done?
Like in my life or as a performer?
Either one, like...
I don't know. I'm a pretty spontaneous
You've never,
person.
randomly danced just down the middle of the street just for no reason?
Yeah, but I'm saying I do that on such a regular...
That's just you now?
Well, yeah, I mean, our life is kind of like a weird Groundhog Day meets nothing but spontaneity. So, yeah, I mean, spontaneity is 50% of our life.
Right.
If we just did the same thing and walked the same way and told the same jokes, whatever.
It'd be boring.
Oh, you would go insane. And a lot of people don't have the stomach to tour like this because of that. So, yeah, spontaneity is part of our lives. Most spontaneous thing I've ever done live. I've done a lot of things. I've climbed a lot of things and jumped off a lot of things and said a lot of things that just hit me. And sometimes it's awesome. Sometimes it's terrible. But that's part of performance art. Is you go for it. Sometimes it works, and the times that it does, you gave a crowd something special, or you got something special from a crowd. And sometimes it goes horribly wrong, and you look like a big dumbass. So, you know, I really don't know. I'm sorry I can't pick out specific moments. I'm kind of a mush head when it comes to memories.
It's totally fine. So with days like Smack and having French in it, do you guys speak another language?
We do, especially when we travel to foreign countries. We're pretty good at absorbing certain languages, and each one of us, especially in the story, kind of pick a particular language to be better at. So when we go to those countries, that's kind of our go-to dude. When we were in Brazil, I did a lot of Portuguese stuff, although I can't really remember much of it now. We know a lot of Japanese. It's a really good country to us, so it just shows a sign of respect that when you're in someone's home, you really go out of your way to absorb
Right.
the culture and the